fire is huge, extremely hot, maybe flames going up 10, 15 feet. What happens is the rocks get very hot. There's the limestone. Don't use rocks that you find in rivers. Don't use chert. They'll explode. The fire would.
Don't use rocks from the rivers.
Yeah, they'll have water inside them. If there's little pockets of air bubbles, that water will instantly vaporize into steam and explode. And it'll blow the rock apart. Or chert. Chert is the rock that you use for flint knapping, for making your knives. It contains silica, kind of like a natural glass, and it will explode to slivers like this. You can hear them zipping by. I did it once on accident, and you hear them zipping by. It's like shrapnel. Don't do that. Yeah. All your firewood burns away. You're not going to cook your plants on a fire. The fire's out. But the rocks get extremely hot and drop down to the bottom of the pit. On top of the rocks, you put prickly pear pads. The prickly pear pads keep your food from burning. They don't have to be the nopalitos. They can be the mature ones because you're not going to eat them. They're just to keep your food from burning, and they also add steam to the pit to help in the chemical reaction that's going to convert some of these saponins into starches. On top of the prickly pear pads, you put your heart, and on top of that, you put all the leaves that you cut off the sotol, put those on, and more prickly pear pads to keep out dirt and to add more steam. After that, you cover everything with dirt. You put dirt on top of your food. You ever had barbacoa?
Barbacoa, yeah.
It's a Mexican dish of meat that's cooked underground, traditionally. Now, nowadays they probably do it in special ovens, but traditionally the way my grandfather did it and the way his grandfather did it, they dig the pit, cook it underground, cover it with dirt, and come back and get it the next morning. But with the sotol heart, they get it anywhere from 2 to 3 days later. It must cook for that long in order to make it edible and palatable. After it's cooked, you go dig it up. It should still be warm to the touch. And the leaves will have turned from a whitish, yellowish color. They'll have caramelized. They'll turn a darker brown and be sweeter than before. If you were to just biting them raw, it would be like biting to a bar of soap. You've got a nasty, soapy flavor. It really irritates the inside of your mouth. Your mouth will start to feel grainy inside and get red. It's not good. But after it's cooked, it's really good. Now, this one still has a little bit of a bitter tinge to it. It all depends on what time of year you're eating them, how much water they've got, whether they've sent their stock up or not. They're still all going to be edible. And you'll all actually get to try this one in a minute here. Let your sotol plant. The sotol, though, is like your 7-Eleven or Walmart, because you can make all kinds of stuff out of this plant. From the leaves, after you've cooked them, you can make them into matting, or headbands. The central stalk, the flower stalk, is one of the best materials to use for fire starting. You're going to have this tall flower stalk. This can be the upper part that's thin. This will be the lower part. You cut your lower part into 3 or 4 pieces, split them in half, and you've got a whole fireboard. Each fireboard might be good for anywhere from 20 to 45 fires.
For your friction fire starting.
For the friction fire starting kit. Yeah.
Did you bring some for people to buy?
I did not. I didn't have time. I've just been going
Yes,
all week.
absolutely.
So.
Well, they got your website.
Yeah. And actually remember, as a hunter-gatherer or forager, if you're in a survival situation, not only does all your food come from the wild, but all of your tools do too. So you can use plants and parts of animals to make other things too. Here I've got a prickly pear pad that I hollowed out. So even musical instruments you can make from plants. I hollowed the prickly pear pad out. Now this one got stepped on by a kid at a class several years ago, so it doesn't work anymore. And I had filled it with seeds, and you could use it as a rattle. Also, they would hollow out the much bigger prickly pear pads when they're still green, and you can fill them with water. And it's surprising how much water you can fill in. Because you blow on your prickly pear pad once it's hollowed out, and it inflates like a balloon. You can pour water into it.
So it's like a canteen.
Yep.
So if you were going to have to live in the wild, where would you pick? What state would you pick to live?
As far as food goes, I think Texas.
Really?
Texas has a lot of edible plants, and I know them personally. If it was just some place that I could actually live with today's laws and so forth, probably Idaho or Alaska, because those have some really vast wildernesses you're actually legally allowed to live in on state land, provided you move every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Yeah. And if you're hunting and gathering, you're going to be moving more often than that. But the reason for that is they don't want like people parking an RV and just trampling the ground, chopping everything down. Because in national forest, you can actually chop down trees. They let you do that. They let you collect plants. They let you hunt animals. Sometimes you'll have to have permits, but depending on what national forest you go to, there's a wide range of activities you can do that you can't do here in Texas on public land.
If you had to just do something like live in the wild for a year, would you pick North Texas, South Texas, East, West?
probably South Texas, maybe around the fringe between the Edwards Plateau, South Texas, and West Texas, so you have a wide range of plants available. But I think if I was going to live anywhere, it would be in the tropics. I went to Chiapas on a survival trip back in October, and it was extremely easy to get enough food to survive. Plus, you don't have to worry about the cold, because you've got to burn more calories the colder it gets.
Just the gorillas.
Just have to worry about being hunted down.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
felt.
the gorillas are-
Oh, yeah, in Chiapas? Well, there's some places in Chiapas where even the gorillas don't go. I went to a place called Selva La Condona, which is something called the Montes Azules Biosphere Reserve. And it's vast, untouched. We got to the very edge, and beyond that, there's no trails, no one goes there. Not even the native La Condon people. No one goes in there.
Only somebody like
Maybe
you,
there's
not
a
even
reason
we
why.
could survive.
The reason why is because it's the jungle, there's no trails, and like, we tried moving without trails, me and my friend, we traveled about 1/8 of a mile in an hour, trying to hacking trails. 'Cause that's the reason there's no trails. But I'm sure like scientific researchers go in there on helicopters and they'll just drop in and come right out. But no one lives there. And no one explores there, but it's incredible. You still have the huge giant tapirs, you've got jaguars, you have the woolly monkeys, the howler monkeys, and we would wake up to the sound of howler monkeys every day in the morning. And they're just
You're thinking it's cool. We're like, oh, don't come get me.
snakes. We never saw a snake.
Never saw a snake.
That's a place for me.
You know,
Yeah.
the snakes are there. You've got the fer-de-lance, which is the most poisonous snake, but just watch out for them. Like, I've encountered a lot of poisonous snakes, and actually over here, this is the most poisonous snake in North America.
Yeah.
But if you know your snakes and how they respond, you can eat them instead of them eating you.
Eat 'em.
This is the coral snake. It contains a neurotoxin like these plants, but even more poisonous, that will shut down your nervous system.
I think we have like 5 minutes left.
Uh-oh. Okay, well,
what we
if you want to head on out, and we
What
can...
we could do is maybe wrap it up, questions, answers, whatever, and then we can continue. We can close down because we need to be out of the building, but we can continue questions and answers out there too.
Okay, cool.
I mean, we can be here for at
You
least
guys wanna
an
see the
hour,
fire?
an
Yeah.
hour, you know.
You want to see the fire?
Yeah, so if y'all want to, yeah, I'll do this at the end then, and if y'all just come up here and look at everything up close and ask as many questions as you can, and so you can identify the plants and see the tools.
That's what I was thinking.
We could
that
carry the
plants-
plants
We can
outside.
be in here for another half hour, but I wanted to just
Okay.
make sure that
And I
we
have
don't
your,
overstay our
I
welcome.
have these, do you want?
Great, yes, also,
Each family,
um,
I've got 20.
cool. I have a book list here of great plants on identifying plants and trees using wild edible plants. There's a book in here that was just published about 11 years ago by University of Texas. The book is this thick, only on wild edible plants of Texas. Fantastic resource. So if y'all can get that or check out the library. Also, books on survival techniques, how to do flint knapping and some of these other primitive skills that I have up here. And the U.S. Army Survival Manual, just some great resources for survival and edible plants.
Can we taste that?
Yes, you will all get a chance to taste the
Yes,
sojol.
why don't we do that? Why don't we go and examine and everything, and then we can just do the fire out there?
Okay.
Would that be great? There's more snacks here if you all want some. We have plenty of them. And if you want to try, oh, Janelle, she just walked out. Could you give the coconut?
Maybe you want to put this thing away.
Oh, and
Antes
if
que alguien-
anybody wants to buy some of that
Yes, we have.
plant, you're welcome to it. Me too.
Decay Grant.
Necessarily going to be able to obtain food from the sources like we do today, from grocery stores, or to get tools like we typically use, or even to grow enough food to be able to sustain yourself. So getting things, tools and foods and resources from the wild is really important because one, it's free, you don't have to pay money. What you're paying to get this food is calories, you're burning energy to get it. So if you know what time of year these foods are ripe and where to find them, it can really help you to survive. There's some basics that really give you an edge to survival. I've got a little package here, I just threw it together this morning, what I would want to take with me if I was trying to evade and survive. And the things you want to look for are shelter, and food, and also medical needs, medical kits. One of the biggest killers in pre-industrial societies was small infections and wounds because of bacteria. Today we've got antibiotics, so those are not a big deal anymore. So antibiotics is one of the things I have in here. And y'all can take a look at